Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta, and before we get started on the conclusion of this series, I want to let you know about a book from tonight's author, Jordan Group, Beneath the Asylum. He's available now by Jordan Group. There's a link to the Amazon in the description down below. And now, on to tonight's story. Noel and I thought we escaped the underground parking garage when we finally found an exit door. Fortunately for us, there was a problem when we got on the street level. After descending 500 floors or so, I should have known there was going to be an issue when that door opened and we walked right out into downtown Toronto. It was far too easy after all we'd been through. This was still downtown Toronto, but this was some other version of it. I had heard of the multiverse theory, that there were infinite other dimensions, trillions upon trillions of them. Some versions were only slightly different from ours, while others were completely unrecognizable. But I never would have guessed that all dimensions hinged on a single point in downtown Toronto. A dirty, squalid parking structure off Spandina. It was only once we got into the taxi that we realized the difference in this place. The cabbie looked at us like we were freaks, screaming with twin mouths where his eyes should have been. At the bottom of his face, one giant cyclops eye stared at us with disbelief, wide and afraid. We screamed right back at him, and I vaguely remember asking him something about a bulldozer before jumping out of the cab and running back towards the parking garage. It was terrifying in there, but out on the street it was much, much worse. Every cyclopic stranger who passed by glared at us with mounting suspicion, some whispering to each other and hurrying away with quick steps. I heard a few stifled screams, and one woman dropped a bag of groceries she was carrying and simply ran in the other direction at the sight of us. This was not our world. And who knew what they would do to us here if they found out about our existence? Fear of what might come to be started to rise up within me, more and more. We were far too exposed on the busy downtown street. I imagined other aliens who looked like the cabbie, but they wore white lab coats and had us strapped to steel tables while they prodded us with long needles and electrodes, torturing us with never-ending experiments. We couldn't risk that happening. I told my brother we had to get back to our world as quickly as possible. The steel sliding door was closed when we got back to the parking garage. We pounded on it with our fists and waited for it to go up. But it didn't. I noticed a discreet intercom on the left of the parking garage entrance. After pushing the button, a fuzzy, distorted voice answered back. Could you let us in, please? No, for the vehicle. The hell is he saying? Noel seemed to have a better ear than I did. Not without a vehicle, not pedestrians. Shit. It was difficult to hide our faces from the passing people as we milled about near the entrance, loitering while we waited for a car to go inside. We put our hands over our faces and sat against a nearby wall, hoping to avoid detection while we waited for our opportunity. Luckily, within about 5 minutes, another car came by and pulled up to the automated door. It rattled open and we ran over, ducking inside just as the door closed behind us. The ramp led down into the darkness, and I felt immediately as if something was wrong. This just looked like an ordinary parking structure now. We got down to the first level and saw families getting out of their vehicles. Cyclops people with upside-down faces who were coming and going, living their lives, going to work with briefcases in hand or returning to their cars from shopping trips with handfuls of bags stuffed with clothing and other items. In other words, it was just a regular parking lot. Not the weird, never-ending, bottomless one we had been visiting previously. What the hell? Noel muttered as we went down another level. It's the same building, right? This isn't it, though. How did we get back? I wish I knew. We went down level after level, going down the ramps instead of using the stairs like we were supposed to. It was how we had gotten there, after all, but it drew attention to us. By the time we got to the bottom, it was clear that this was not the same place. The ramps going down ceased abruptly, and we noticed there were security guards waiting for us on the quiet lowest level where nobody was parked. What the hell are you guys doing? Let me guess. You don't have a car down here. We've been watching you on the cameras and... The squeaky, high-pitched double voice of the one guard cut us off when he saw our faces. What? What the hell are you? The other guard asked, pointing his flashlight straight into my eyes. Jerry, get the cops over here. This isn't right. My heartbeat pounded with fear. I turned and I tried to run, telling Noel to follow me, but there was more guards on the next level up, and the next. Despite our attempts to escape, pretty soon we were surrounded by them. There's no chance for fighting them, I realized. They had flashlights and walkie-talkies, and we were clearly outmatched. Instead, we went semi-peacefully to their security office. We were exhausted and had little fight left in us after our journey through the parking structure and its hundreds of floors. They dragged us into the security office and put us in a stuffy interrogation room. Their surreal upside-down faces were hard to look at, and I got the impression they felt the same about us, making disgusting noises as they closed the door on us. After being left alone in the windowless room, we sat sweating, waiting for the authorities to arrive. The idea of being dragged further away from this parking structure and thus from our reality filled me with a terrible sense of dread. How would we find our way back here? Would we be stranded in this dimension forever, forced to endure the aforementioned torture and experiments by cyclopic aliens with white lab coats? My panicked, terrified thoughts were interrupted when a picture frame fell off the wall across the room from where we were sitting. I noticed the floor was rumbling slightly beneath my feet. My heart rate began to increase rapidly. Was it the demons? Were they coming after us? There was a muffled ding sound that could be heard from behind the wall. Then a vertical seam opened in it. A line which stretched about 7 feet high and opened in the wall, cracking the paint and sending flakes and chips of it onto the floor. The crack in the wall opened up suddenly, the gap widening like an elevator door. When I looked inside, I saw that it was indeed what it was. But this was no ordinary elevator. Standing inside of it were a pair of men in sharp-looking charcoal gray suits, wearing sunglasses despite the low light from the room. They were nondescript and clean-shaven, their hair cut short and uniform. If I had been asked to describe them to a sketch artist 10 minutes after meeting them, I would certainly not have been able to. I'm struggling even now to remember these details, and they could be wrong. There's a chance their suits were blue, they had long gray beards, they weren't wearing sunglasses at all, but fancy monocles like a planter's peanut guy. The hell are you boys doing all the way down here? The one on the left asked us. Or maybe it was the one on the right. I didn't know what to say, other than the truth. So I told them what happened. They looked at each other with concern. Damn, another breach. We'll have a long chat with the boys downstairs. Can't be messing with the fabric of reality like this, no matter how bad the parking situation in hell is. Well, I did say this was going to be a problem. Can't expect demons to build anything up to code. Yeah, when you're right, you're right. And you would know. The idiots upstairs should have listened. Noel and I looked at each other with utter confusion. I'm sorry. Who are you guys? They seemed to have forgotten we were standing there and shrugged to each other, motioning for us to follow them to the elevator. Don't worry about it, kid. Just looking out for people like you. That's our job. We got into the elevator, and the wall closed up behind us, sealing us inside. Then the box began to go up. The numbers on the display went up as well. They turned into letters and then symbols. ZZZ99, AO Box L, AO Box Backward L, AO Box Y, AO Box Down. It cycled through faster and faster, and I felt my stomach getting forced downwards unpleasantly. My inner ears ached. Here, kid, have some gum. One of the guys handed both of us some grape-flavored Hubba Bubba, and we chewed it quickly, swallowing to try and get our ears to pop. They did after a while, and I felt marginally better, but still more scared than I'd ever been in my life as the elevator flew upwards at increasingly higher speeds. Can you guys explain what just happened, please? I asked. What's the deal with the parking garage? The two guys looked at each other, but the one who looked more senior eventually nodded at the other. Well, it started off as just overflow parking for the dicks downstairs, but eventually started using it for other purposes. They're big on torture devices inspired by real-life transgressions down there, so just For a hypothetical, imagine you're one of those people who parks in a handicap spot and takes up 2 parking spots on purpose, all the time. You end up roaming that never-ending parking lot for eternity. It's pretty clever, I'd say. Using it for both purposes, 2 birds, 1 stone, and all that. Okay, that makes a really weird sort of sense, I guess, but what about the other Toronto? Was that hell? Because that doesn't quite feel right. Oh, no, it's just... Well, think of the universe like a big onion. It was just the next layer down. You weren't supposed to be there. It's really bad, actually. Did you get into one of those cars with a demon when you were down in the parking garage by any chance? Yeah, we thought that he was stuck down there too. Turns out he was one of them. I shuddered, thinking back to Steve and how he had terrified us driving through the parking garage in his car, traveling much faster than he should have been possible. That makes sense. Somebody who has the ability to travel between worlds has to take you back and forth. They're trying to create a hole in the fabric of space-time. Not for the first time either. Does this sort of thing happen often? Noel asked. They shared another look. More and more these days. Nothing we can't handle, though. I hoped he was right about that. I didn't want to find out what would happen if they failed their job. Something occurred to me. Hey, I've been looking to change careers. What kind of background do you need to do your job? It seems like you could use all the help you can get now. The guy on the right slapped the other's arm. This guy here was an elevator repairman until not too long ago, but you'd be surprised how much overlap there is between the 2 professions. Between elevator repair and... Wait, what are you guys exactly? Just think of us as guardians. There are forces at work who would prefer this universe did not exist. They want everything destroyed so they could start from scratch. Make it how they want. We try to prevent that, or at least limit the damage. Think of the universe like an expanding bubble. I thought you said it was an onion. He looked annoyed for a moment. Sometimes it's an onion. Sometimes it's a bubble, okay? Damn it. I forgot what I was going to say. He paused, looking at his feet, trying to remember. You guys are missing out on some really profound and interesting shit now because you're interrupted. That's all I'm going to say. Jeez, sorry, but hey. Thanks for saving us, though. We owe you guys one. Yeah, you're welcome, I guess, he said sulkingly. We rode in silence for a little while longer, and eventually I could tell that we were starting to get closer to the top. The symbols representing which floors we were on becoming more abbreviated on the elevator's displays, then eventually turning into letters again. Can I ask one more question? Noel tried as we neared the top. He was clearly just as curious about all this business as I was. Shoot. Is this the only junction between worlds? This nasty parking garage? Because it's pretty messed up if it is. Oh, nah. No, there's plenty of other ones. There's a giant oak tree, a late-night city bus, an old mall somewhere, not to mention the... That's about enough of that, partner, the other man said, squeezing his shoulder. We try to keep a few secrets for ourselves, remember? Plausible deniability? What if they got a hold of these 2 and tried to extract some info? He looked at us and apologized for his friend. Sorry, he's new. Still working on the whole discretion part of the job. The other guy looked sheepishly at his feet again and apologized for oversharing. It's okay. Don't let it happen again. The elevator door rumbled open on its tracks, and the world as we knew it revealed itself to us once again. Here we are. GXR 187. Outside were the corridors of an office building. People with normal faces and the right number of eyes and mouths walked past us as we stumbled out of the elevator. The wall closed up behind us, but nobody seemed to take any notice. Whoa, nobody saw us coming out of that interdimensional elevator? Noel said. I think it's got a cloaking device or something. I looked around. No, I don't think so. Everyone was simply looking at their phones. Nobody paid us any mind as they stared at their screens. We could have had 2 heads, they wouldn't have even noticed. 2 mouths and 1 eye. We left the building and stepped out onto the street. I inhaled deeply and breathed in the smoggy downtown Toronto air, exhaling it with coughing and darting glares from passers-by. Home. Finally. We were home. Now that I'm safe, back in my apartment in Hamilton, I wish I could say to you that everything is okay. That everything turned out all right. But I keep thinking back to the words the man in the gray suit said in the elevator. What if they get a hold of these two? I keep hearing voices in the darkness at night, from the shadows and in the hidden places, whispered voices in harsh tones, but when I check, there's nobody there. Maybe we aren't as safe as we thought. Maybe they're coming for me one of these days to try to find out what I know. I wouldn't put it past them. The demons from the parking structure. I wouldn't be surprised if they came for me in my sleep. If you don't hear from me again, you can assume that's what happened. I'm resigning to it. I can't stop it. I only hope the Guardians can live up to their name. That they can stop them. Otherwise, we're all in a lot of trouble. Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta, and I wanted to tell you thank you for watching today's video on YouTube or listening to tonight's episode of the podcast. If you guys like hearing stories being told here on YouTube/podcast/ wherever you happen to be listening to stories being told, then you can always get some behind the scenes stuff. Check out twitch.tv/MrCreepyPasta, and sometimes I go live there. That's basically the end of the statement. Sometimes I'm live. A lot of the times I'm not. Sometimes when I'm live, I play video games. Majority of the time when I'm live, I'm attempting to work, but also I get wrapped up in talking about life stories or things. So if you ever wanted to know me outside of this, then hey, just check out twitch.tv/MrCreepyPasta. And I want to give a big thank you, as always, to all of my Patreon subscribers on Patreon. You guys are the real MVPs. You are the ones that allow me to do stuff like getting specific stories just for the channel. If you guys want to see more of that, then I would really, really, really love if you guys could help support on patreon.com/MrCreepyPasta, like some of these wonderful guys, such as Jordan Alexander Sanchez, Stephanie Butler, Bobby Karman, Tristain Pelton, Chance Burnett, Diana Kraus, KhaosArts, Kryolinian, Milk and Miel, Celty Sturloson, Zachary, Graffius, It's All About That FOOKIN Music, Goreng, Trimagasi, Maria Walker, Tonya, Oran, paingravy, Krazy Kid, MrMarcusBlitz, Aika, Limchoc, Dirt Diver 030, Matt Bach, Dabbles Raz, Voice of Sand, Coffee Zombie, Matthew McNeese, Shelly J, Jeremy H, Raltazal, Ficomel, Nana, Nick Weaver, Melted Lake, Tolly Sue, Sky Mara Ravenswood, William King, Darth Milver, Micah Ortiz, Satanic Aries, Nessie, Barterhawk 764, Lambda M98, Harley, Billy Morrow, Sashi Suzaku, My Body Sounds Like Rice Krispies, Kaylee Ambrose, Suji Campbell, Stricken, Azarine Fox, Freddy Krueger, Nicholas Sicardi, Happy Birthday Jason Wilson, Lisa Cottrell, Caspian, Hades Nephew, Tater Chip, Acid System, Prozac and Pancake Appreciation Society, Cryptic Nightmares, Kiri the Sloth, Tommy Green, Fester Lampshade, Sky Harbor, Nico Kyle, Rafael Rodriguez, The Ginger Bros, Aaron Stormcrow, Daniel Paulson, Trace Miles, and Corey Kenshin. You guys, as well as everybody if you look down in the description, and everybody that can even just give $1 to be able to help things out. I really appreciate it. If you guys would like to join this list of names that I horribly, horribly mispronounce, check out patreon.com/MrCreepyPasta. And honestly, even you guys who just listen, you watch, you comment, you like, you subscribe, thank you all. I really appreciate it. And sweet dreams.